And joining us on this special broadcast is Pempa Tsering. Pempa Tsering is the former speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in exile. He's been elected the new president of the exiled government, and he's joining us on Republic TV for the first time. Pempa Tsering, congratulations first of all, and thank you for speaking to Republic TV.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. What are the immediate challenges that you have in front of you, Pempa?
The reason why we are in exile is because of the Chinese occupation of Tibet. And the first priority is, of course, to reach out to the Chinese government to resolve the Sino-Tibet conflict. That is the first priority, as always.
Yeah. And we've been reporting relentlessly. In the last 1 year especially, there has been so much of a movement worldwide with Tibetans around the world, you know, demonstrating more than ever before on the need for the Tibetan struggle to reach some conclusion. Now, how do you plan to take that struggle forward?
I'm sorry, the screen is going on and off. I couldn't hear your whole issue, whole question.
My question to you, Mr. Tsering, was about the Tibetan struggle. We've seen increased demonstrations across the world for the Tibetan community to also get global attention and also mobilize in your struggle against China. Now, how do you plan to take that struggle forward?
As long as a lasting solution to the Tibet issue is not found, and as long as the Chinese government does not address the real aspiration of the Tibetan people, the Chinese government cannot wish the Tibetan issue away. So the Tibetans will keep fighting for it, and this will go on. Yeah.
Now there is also a demand for a Tibet advocacy group with Tibetans living across the world. So you're the new leader. How do you plan to mobilize this cause?
We have a lot of potential. You know, the Tibetan diaspora is only about 130,000 people. Yes. But now many more Tibetans are going out to the Western countries, and we have Tibetans in more than 25 countries. They have become citizens in those countries. They speak the language. They understand the politics of that country, and these potential of Tibetan youngsters should be mobilized, and that is why I intend to start a Tibet advocacy group, a volunteer group of Tibetans to advocate for Tibet worldwide. And this will multiply our efforts in reaching out to governments and parliaments and media and think tanks around the world.
Yeah. Now, the Chinese narrative has been, you know, around your election, has been that nothing is going to change. It's status quo. And I'm reading from some of the headlines in the Chinese media saying that the newly elected Tibetan government in exile will not change its independent stance. How do you respond to these reports? Obviously, they're being the mouthpiece for the government in China.
This public posture has always been maintained by the Chinese government, and what has been mentioned is not from the president's office or from the foreign office. It is by the former United Workfront department's head and scholars, academicians. I don't consider that as the official position of the Chinese government. If the Chinese government think that the Tibetan issue cannot be resolved, should not be resolved, then they should let us know. Then we will act accordingly.
Yeah. They're also talking about a possible internal conflict in the Dalai Lama group. How do you respond to such reports coming in from China?
We practice democracy, and within democracy there are always differences of opinion, and that's allowed. In communist China, you don't have democracy, you don't have freedom of expression, so they find it rather weird that the Tibetan community has division within its ranks and files. But as far as we are concerned, every time there is an election, just like in any other democracy, there is division or differences of opinion. But when it comes to the cause of Tibet, we are one.
Are you in touch with the Chinese administration now? You are quoted as saying that you will work towards resuming the negotiations between your government and China to resolve the Sino-Tibet issue?
Yeah, there will be back channel avenues to reach out to the Chinese government, I'm sure, because the Chinese government also doesn't want interference from third parties. So we will reach out directly to the Chinese government. I'll have to assess what has been done so far and what are the contacts so far, and also explore various means and ways to reach out to the Chinese government. And the media has also played a very important role. I'm sure what I have been saying over the last 1 week, 10 days has been heard in the Chinese government. That is why you have the response in the global times.
Yes, certainly you can expect a response, because they watch very closely, and they watch, hear and observe very closely whatever is said, especially on Republic TV. Now, you're sounding much more confident than the previous regime about a possible breakthrough. Am I reading that correctly?
I have always, and we have to be positive. There is no other way. That is why Tibetans have a saying: prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that is what we have to do, and will keep doing, because Chinese government cannot just ignore the Tibetan issue. As far as we are concerned, it has been 60 years, 70 years since China occupied Tibet, but the spirit of the Tibetans inside Tibet has not died. They are very strong, and Tibet, even though we are very small in number, because of the leadership of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the spirit of the Tibetans outside Tibet also, the Tibetan issue continues to be a global issue. Therefore, we will continue to have an optimistic view and hope for the best, but we'll prepare for the worst when it comes to that.
Yeah. On the very contentious issue of the succession of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, now, what are your thoughts on Chinese interference and Chinese observations and influence on such an issue? They seem to want to have a say on it.
China is a communist country. They don't believe in religion, and reincarnation is a purely Tibetan Buddhist concept. If they want to be involved in the process of reincarnation, recognition of reincarnation, then I have always been saying that they should learn Buddhism first. Unless they learn Buddhism and accept the concept of life after death, China cannot have any role in the recognition of reincarnation. And particularly, His Holiness said it is His Holiness the Dalai Lama who is going to be reincarnated, and it's his consciousness that will be in the new body. So it is up to His Holiness, not the Chinese government or anybody else. And he has mentioned it many times that he will be born in a free world. So communist China cannot have a hand in religious matters.
Yeah. The US has congratulated you on your victory in the elections. How closely will your administration work with America on the Tibetan struggle?
The US has been very supportive over the last 3 decades. And we really look forward to working with the US government and also the Indian government, and also work with all like-minded countries who believe in freedom, in democracy, and all the values that are part of the free world. So we'll reach out to not just to the United States and India, but also to all other countries that practice democracy and has the values that we also cherish.
I'll take one last question from you, Mr. Pempa Tsering. How closely are you working with Taiwan?
We did receive a congratulation letter from the Foreign Minister of Taiwan. I did receive one. I have not replied to them officially, but that is a very good sign from the Taiwanese government, and we really look forward to working with the Chinese government as to how to take our issues forward.
Mr. Pempa Tsering, congratulations once again, and all the very best in your fights and struggles, and we are with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Tsering.
Thank you.